Then she was running on all fours like a cheetah.
Oh my gosh.
And it starts to look like a goat, and then a dog, and then a bunny as it gets closer and
Shut
closer.
up. What would happen if you actually let the B.E.K in? Well, this story might provide an answer.
Oh yeah, this is an encounters episode, and we picked a topic. It is legends. It is lore.
Urban legends.
Yes. Hello.
Hi.
This is Two Girls, One Ghost.
Two girls, one ghost. And we are your ghostesses. That is Corinne.
Hi.
I'm Sabrina.
Everything around me is breaking.
Can you tell why Corinne's coffee is a large
Why
and
it's a
mine
little
is a
extra.
medium?
Cheers.
Cheers.
Ching ching.
Ching ching.
I had another ghost story and I also forgot it. Oh, no, I remembered. Okay.
Hello, Corinne's brain. Welcome to the party.
Yesterday, I was out watering some of the plants because I just redid our landscaping myself. I have
It looks
permanent bruises
beautiful.
all over my knees.
Good job.
Thank you. I have to water them all the time. So I was out watering, and then Brian came out with Noah and was like, we're just taking a break outside. Noah just ate, and then he saw a ghost. I was like, what? 'Cause
Brian said this?
That's so, right? Like, it's so weird for Brian to say that. Like, that's not a joke he'd make. And, like, he doesn't want to talk about ghosts, which is interesting given what we do multiple times a week.
He's like, you talk about it enough. I don't need
it's like
to.
it stays in this room and then it doesn't cross the threshold. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, I fed him his bottle. And then he stood in his doorway while Brian was still in his room and looked out. He said he walked over and like looked in the hallway like he was looking at something, observing it, and like stood there for a few seconds looking out and then just turned and booked it back towards Brian, crying and screaming and really scared, which like that is just so out of the norm. Like the only other time that's ever happened was in here. Like literally
That
his whole
one
life.
moment.
He doesn't run and scream from anything. He's a little brave or reckless. I don't know.
Interesting.
But yeah, Brian's like, I think he saw something.
Okay. Last episode, we talked about how he's little Matilda and a Disney princess, and he's coming into his own.
He's a witch. He's a warlock.
He's a witch.
He's a witch.
And you all are haunted.
Yeah.
What's today's theme? I forget what we picked.
Oh yeah, this is an encounters episode, and we picked a topic that I picked out my stories an hour ago.
I know.
So I should know what the topic is.
I need to.
It is legends. It is lore.
Urban legends.
Yes.
Which actually, when I was doing my polling stories, I picked a topic for us for October where we do all La Llorona and Mexico legend stories because we have so many emails.
Okay. I'm very excited, but I also just got chills because I'm like, October stuff always happens. We always experience hauntings, and La Llorona's active.
Actually, I picked one that is La Llorona.
We'll just segue right into her.
Go right into it. Tease you for what we have coming up in the spooky season of... Actually, it's technically, I feel like it's here because the next big
basically
holiday is
is.
Halloween, meaning that it's
Right.
Summerween, and here we are.
Well, the next big holiday is our anniversary.
Oh my God, yeah. You're too far. I started a Pinterest board and I invited you to it last night when I couldn't sleep, and I was creating a mood board for what we could do in the studio.
Oh my gosh. Okay, wait.
And I
think
really want to do like a fun house. Not for like our full-time studio, but like how fun would it be around Halloween if we decorated our studio like a fun house with mirrors and like
so
a circusy vibe.
freaky.
I took this picture. Like
I wish we just had a warehouse.
we were telling
right?
stories from inside the fortune teller booth.
Wait, I love that. I'm obsessed. We can execute on that
I know.
because like crafts. I always have
Arts and crafts.
you
have
giant
no time
cardboard.
for arts and crafts.
You can do it. I'll tell you what to do, and you do it.
Okay, great. Right now, we're going to tell you all what to do, and it's shut up and listen to us.
Guys, shut up. Stop talking. You're talking nonstop. You keep interrupting Sabrina.
It's so
and I
annoying.
can barely get a word in on this podcast.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I have a story of La Llorona. Are you okay?
I'm just laughing because you said it like it was like a surprise, but
But we already talked.
You've already
Yeah.
announced.
Surprise!
Surprise, La Llorona.
This is from our listener, Brianna. Hey girls, I'm Brianna and I'm a relatively new listener. I feel like I've finally found my community. Thank you for making these videos. You've made my day so many times. Well, we just told you to shut up, so you're welcome. If you like
But
that
in a way
type of
that's
thing.
like, shut up, I love you.
Shut up. Any hoot. Let's go ahead and get into the story. This is my mom's story from her teenage years. My mom, Andrea, her cousins, and a couple of friends go to a nearby river all the time in their small town of Solomon, Arizona. They all drove down in her friend's truck and were just chilling by the water one day. One of the guys gets into the water and is swimming when suddenly he stops and turns towards the river bend. Mind you, it is nighttime. It is completely dark. But then everyone freezes because they hear it. They hear a woman wailing and what sounds like someone running towards them in the water.
Oh, that is horrible.
My mom and her friends jump in the truck and drove off, leaving the friend from the water in the dust. What?
What? That's no buddy
Luckily,
system.
he was able to jump into the truck bed before they took off, but he was covered in dirt and terrified. Poor
What
guy.
the hell, you guys?
To this day, La Llorona is the only story that freaks my mom out. I sent her a TikTok a while ago of someone who caught La Llorona crying on video, and she wouldn't even click on it. She was so scared.
No.
Also, fun fact, I grew up in a small town that was featured on a ghost hunting show, and the episode title was called Terror Town.
Oh, great. Well, that's a fun place to live.
Thanks for all you do. See you on the other side. Love, Brianna.
My mind was going through being like, okay, well, what animals could scream and screech and trudge through the water like that? And I just, it's La Llorona.
It's La Llorona.
Which is so terrifying.
You know what I realized? We forgot to turn your lamp on.
Oh.
So should we turn it on?
Yeah, but
should we video edit it? Where
I was just going to say we're going to do
a magic
cut.
spell.
Ready? Bippity boppity boop.
Did we do it? We did it.
Wow. This is also interesting because like that story I can't think of words today. I guess those people got to live through an experience where they actually understood what they would do in extreme fear because everyone likes to think you'd save your friend.
No, but they ran.
Yeah, which I'm curious how the friend group existed after that because
that
it's
would
like
break
a New
some
Girl
friendships.
where Nick was trying to save his sandwich, but Schmidt thought he was trying to save him, and then it was like a whole thing. That just, was it friendship ruining, knowing that your friends would leave you?
Okay,
and let you get killed and murdered by a ghost?
One of my favorite movies is called Force Majeure. It's not a U.S. film. It's an international film. It was nominated for an Oscar, but it's so good. And it's all about, they remade it in the U.S. Don't watch that one. Watch the original, the Force Majeure film. It's very suspenseful in a psychological way. So it's about a family that's on vacation and an avalanche happens. And it's basically the whole fallout of how people respond to that. That's the whole movie.
Yeah, because the dad left his family and then pretended like he was trying to help save his kids.
Yeah.
But they were like eating. I have only seen clips on TikTok.
Brian would actually like it because it's not scary. It's just like suspenseful and intense.
I'll make him watch it so that if there's ever an avalanche, he knows.
Don't run.
It's in his mind ingrained. Don't run. No, I'd rather he run because then the strong one, me, the ox, can pluck all the others and run. It makes my life easier to not also have to save him, right? Save yourself so I can do
I'm just picturing you like Hercules, Brian under one arm, Noah the other.
In the face of danger, I grow strong.
What do you have?
This is Red Ash Cemetery Goat Man, and it was sent by our listener, Allie.
Okay.
Hey, girls. Actually, it's hey, girlies. I like it.
I like it.
I've been watching your Appalachia stories for the past few weeks and have decided to share my own 2 paranormal experiences with you, which are the most terrifying ones by far. I'm so sorry this is going to be long, but it all starts at Red Ash Cemetery, which is located in Caryville, Tennessee, which is basically the southern-eastern corner of Appalachia in the Cumberland Mountains. Caryville has little to offer outside of a cemetery and many legends.
That's a lot to offer.
That is a lot to offer.
Especially if this is the audience that you're catering to, sign us up.
I was in high school at the time, and there were so many stories from my peers about the adventures to Red Ash. My friend group and I were not believers in ghosts or the paranormal or anything like that. We always assumed that people were either inebriated when they experienced those things or simply just made it up as something interesting to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So we decided the night of prom, after prom, To change out of our prom attire, I actually didn't go to prom, so I spent the hours that they were there researching what we had allegedly signed up for by going to the cemetery. There are many different legends and sightings at this place, as it's very old and there were many more places to go. The cemetery, of course, a railroad, a one-way bridge, a railroad bridge above the one-lane road, an abandoned mine, a long stretch of road surrounded by trees, an abandoned silo, a small church, a forest, a streaming creek, and probably more. Okay, this is like a ton to offer.
Jeez.
Could spend
all at this
a
one
week
place
exploring.
How big is this cemetery?
I know, I'm curious. The area is also known for satanic rituals and sacrifices. The biggest legend in this area is of the Goat Man. The Goat Man is said to guard and patrol the cemetery, scaring off people and other entities. The cemetery isn't truly named Red Ash Cemetery, which we didn't know at the time, so we couldn't actually find the exact address to get us to the cemetery, but we found a church, but no cemetery. We found a coal stack, the silo, a park of trailers, not homes, but like a job site park of trailers, a one-lane bridge, the creek, etc., but no cemetery. We know that it's fairly near the Tennessee and Kentucky border, so when we went to look for the cemetery, we went down this long, narrow, two-lane road surrounded by tall trees with no homes, no buildings, no lights. We saw a car on the side of the road looking under his hood, probably trying to figure out if he had an issue with his car. And my friend was driving and said that we should stop and see if maybe he needs a jump start.
What time is this? I feel like this is super late, especially post-prom.
It's after prom. They already went home. They changed.
I feel like it's late.
Normally, we would not have an issue with stopping, but we were in the middle of nowhere with no cell service. Again, no lights. There were no witnesses. We were already scared just because of the reason of us being there. So we decided to keep driving past him and soon found the Kentucky border, realizing that we needed to turn around and go back to where we came from in hopes of finding this cemetery. We turned around, we came back to where the man was. This was less than 5 minutes that had passed, and there was absolutely no sign of this guy or his vehicle, which was weird because he was actively looking under his hood with no one there to help him, to tow him, or to pick him up. And then we heard some noises. We saw some little orbs. We saw some lights in the distance, and it seemed really weird. But maybe it was fine. Maybe it wasn't paranormal. We left that night without finding the cemetery as it was really late in the night. We were tired. We were hungry. We wanted to do more research to be able to find the cemetery, but we decided we'd come back another time. The interesting part comes the next time we visited Red Ash. We went back a few months later, craving the experience of the actual cemetery. We'd spoken to a few people who'd been, and we got some better directions. Did we decide to go on the 13th of the moon, a full moon, at witching hour? Why, yes. We did.
I love this.
We got to the local Waffle House around 11 p.m. We took our time eating dinner, planning our route around the area, and at around 1 a.m. we were on our way. We took more people with us than we had the first time, having to take 2 cars this time. I was in the car with my friend, his girlfriend, and his brother. His brother was in the back seat with me, and he looked up the hill to our left, and he made a really disturbed noise, and then looked towards his feet immediately, saying, I'm trying not to be dramatic right now, but I swear I just saw a woman sitting on a tree stump up there just now.
Oof, I just got chills.
He began describing her, which the exact description is now slipping my mind, but I do remember that the clothing she was wearing was really outdated by decades, if not a century.
Look at my legs. They're goosies.
Yeah. He stopped looking out the window. He was really scared at this point. Keep in mind, none of us are believers in things like ghosts or spirits, but he genuinely seemed spooked. We found the cemetery. It was like a mile back off of a gravel road, which is why we didn't find it the first time. We parked at the edge of the gravel road. We walked a mile-ish to the cemetery because we had one very large 3-row SUV and another car, and we didn't want to potentially get stuck or caught or in trouble.
Yeah, that would be
terrifying.
It is, but it's also equally as scary that your car is parked so far away.
True. You have to run.
Yeah.
Run for it. The cemetery is surrounded by trees on 3 sides of a circle, connected to the gravel road at the front. And the trees were on the other side of the road too, so really we were just surrounded by trees with no streetlights or anything around. We had our phones and a couple of flashlights to show us the way and the full moon above. There was already an old late 90s to early 2000s minivan that was there with their headlights pointed at the cemetery and 3 people standing near the van. The man standing at the back of the van had a long beard and a jacket hood on his head. He began walking towards us, and as he did, his beard seemed to have gotten a bit shorter. When he got to us, asking us if we brought any holy water, we replied, no. He then began to light a cigarette backwards. He lit the filter
What?
And we all began looking around the cemetery, and he and his 2 passengers then went back, got in the minivan, and left, giving us much less light to work with.
I really don't like this guy.
Right? This is so weird.
Ugh.
There were a total of 7 of us there. 2 were all the way to the back of the cemetery looking at the angel statue and the graffiti on it, and then the rest of us were grouped together walking back towards the road. The 2 at the front began looking into the woods because they thought they heard something, and then the rest of us rolled our eyes and continued back towards the road, looking at the small and really old gravestones to our left. The same guy who previously thought that he saw the woman on our drive-in said, "Guys, I think I heard something in the woods for real." We were all saying that he was just trying to spook us, and so we kept walking. But then myself and 2 others in our small group also heard something from that same direction, not close to where the other 2 were. And what happened next happened so fast.
Oh my gosh.
We all turned towards the part of the woods. Whether we heard the sound or not, one of the flashlights was shined towards the noise as we expected to see maybe a raccoon or a squirrel or something running around. But what we saw was not a raccoon. It was not a squirrel. I saw what looked like a nondescript human female running towards us out of the tree line. Then she was running on all 4s like a cheetah.
Oh my gosh.
It happened so quickly, my mind couldn't comprehend how crazy and inhuman it was. But either way, something was running towards me, and I began yelling and running. 2 of the others in the group of 5 also saw it. They began screaming and running, which caused the other 2 that didn't see to run as well. And as the figure is getting closer to us, it's getting smaller, which defies everything we know about the object getting closer to you. And it starts to look like a goat, and then a dog, and then a bunny as it gets closer and closer.
Shut up.
We had turned towards the car and began running in that direction when we saw this thing running at us. And this means the running object was to our left as it ran towards us. As we got to where we would have run into it, it fully disappeared. We did not run over it. It did not run over us. It didn't turn around and run the other way. It didn't swerve to avoid us. It disappeared.
Well, thank God it did.
Can you imagine, though? Like, it caught them. Thank God it disappeared, but, like, it caught them. They didn't outrun it.
I hate it. And it had been following them for a long time.
Watched them on the drive-in. Spotted their car. The 2 people that were separated from us at the very back of the cemetery didn't see, hear, or feel anything, but when we started to scream and run, they got upset thinking that we were pranking them. We all vowed that we would never talk about our experience at all until we got back to the house that we were staying at, and we could draw what we saw separately to prove.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, to prove it to the 2 that didn't witness anything, that what we experienced was real. One of the men that saw it cried. The other man that saw something had a heart condition and went into really fast and irregular heartbeats. He was unable to drive us back home because of it.
Oh.
When we got back to the house, the 3 of us drew what we saw. I drew a bunny. One of them drew a lamb, or a goat-shaped figure. The other drew a small horse-like figure. The kick that got us all, and almost convinced the 4 total people that didn't see the figure, was the fact that all 4 of us drew the animals without heads. No one had discussed the fact that none of us had actually seen a head on any version of the figure running towards us. Yet we all drew one without a head. To this day, almost 11 years later, the 2 people that were at the front of the cemetery and didn't witness any part of the story still adamantly do not believe us. The 2 that were with us in our group of 5 when we witnessed it do believe us because of the terror in our voices and the speed in which we turned and ran without warning and without a sign. Anyways, when I tell the story to people that have been to Red Ash or have any knowledge of the legends, they tell me that what we saw was the Goat Man, or one of his spirits warding us away from his cemetery.
Well, it worked.
From Allie. It certainly did.
I wish I could see the photos that they all drew.
I know.
I mean, it's terrifying, but it's also just so reminiscent of being in middle school or high school and going on walks through the town with my friends, and like, you know, you don't really have much to do
after prom, and then like on a full moon. It feels so. It's like The Craft. Like it totally feels
so spooky and fun.
Yeah. Like holy shit.
Yeah, Jesus.
To be stalked. And like this is actually the first time I've ever heard a story where they don't outrun the creature.
Right. I'm glad that it didn't, like you say, it caught them, which it totally did, but at least it didn't like follow one of them or like penetrate their nightmares or keep showing up in their lives. It was just literally like the point was to scare them away, and it worked.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. So scary. I can't believe the other two don't believe them after like years.
I get it. I wouldn't want to. It's
Yeah.
easier to not believe because then it's like I don't have to cope with the reality in which something like that, which is so horrifying, exists.
And I'm sure it's confused. I feel like if you looked at the group and all 5 were running and screaming the exact same, you would also start to run and scream.
Yeah, sure.
But to see 3 people running and screaming and the other 2 in the group kind of being like, what do we do? Like, do we also run? It does. I would also be like, are they pranking us?
Well, it goes back to how do people react in situations?
Right. Fight or flight.
What's your reaction?
Most people, I guess,
what do you
are
think
flighting.
your reaction is? And then we'll all gather and we'll put it to the test.
I like truly, I just got like a pit in my heart because I was like, I feel like normally in scenarios I can kind of picture it, but like I might freeze.
I'm a fawner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To have something like a giant, like a woman creature, like galloping towards you.
Yeah.
With
I'd
no
collapse.
one else around, I think I would just freeze. Or I'd try to run, but I'd Scooby-Doo run, so I wouldn't be going anywhere.
Yeah.
I'd be stuck in place.
Based on my trauma responses, I think it's fawn. I definitely like freeze and like ball up and try to pretend I don't exist.
Well, if we were together and you did that and I was frozen, I wouldn't leave you. I know that my next thing would be to fight.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd chase it.
Right. You would chase it.
Maybe I'd take off my clothes.
I mean, the legend for the Hawaiian night marchers is you're supposed to take off all your clothes and lay there very still.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Nice pale under the moonlight. That's your flashlight for you guys. I'll guide you to safety.
Actually, so it's summer now and I've been going to the beach a lot and my tan lines are insane. Like my boobs are so blindingly white compared to the rest of my body that it is like, sometimes I see myself in the mirror and I'm like, ah! It's like spotlights. I have a story about black-eyed kids.
I feel like it's been a while since we've had a black-eyed kid story.
This is from our listener, Angela. And Angela says, hello, ghostesses.
Hello.
My name is Angela and I'm from Nepal. I've been listening to Two Girls, One Ghost for almost a year now and I'm almost caught up. So I've been re-listening from the very beginning and I just listened to the B.E.K episode today and it jogged a memory of my grandma talking about an encounter that she had when she was a kid. I've heard this story many times, but only today was I finally able to connect the dots of what it was that she actually encountered. And you guys asked, what would happen if you actually let the B.E.K in or make contact in some way? Well, this story might provide an answer to that.
Oh, God.
This happened when my grandma was in her early teens. Let's call her S for this story. S had gone on a camping trip from school, and the trip included a few hours of hiking. Before they started on their path, the teachers assigned students to partners and strictly told them to stay in their groups and use the buddy system everywhere they go. The hiking path led them through some woods, narrow pathways that wound around hilly terrains of rural Nepal. And S had a great time with her friends, but on the way back hiking through the trail, S and her friends got in some kind of disagreement. S, being an unhinged teenager and the badass she was, decided that she was going to walk all by herself and leave her friends behind. They had started this hike late afternoon, and even though it was summer, it got very dark as they started to approach their destination. At some point, S realized she was very separated from the group. Earlier, she had heard the voices of her friends, but now she couldn't hear anything. She couldn't see any of them. She hustled along faster to catch up with the group ahead of her, and that's when she saw him. A little boy who looked to be around 7 or 8 years old, walking alone in front of her. She called out to him, "Hey," but he didn't respond, and he didn't turn around either. She got more curious and called out again. This time, she was close enough to reach her arm out and tap him on the back. He still didn't respond. She thought, that's odd, but she kept following him, thinking, at least she's not alone now. A few minutes later, she saw the rest of the group. They were ahead of her, and she ran towards them. When she finally caught up, S turned around to check on the kid, but no one was behind her. S thought that was odd, but brushed it off as some nearby village boy who might have gone back home since it was late. The next day, which was the last day of the trip, all of the kids packed up their stuff to make their way back home. But on the way home, S started feeling sick, as if her heart was giving out. She got so ill that by the time she reached home, she could barely stand, and the family had to bring her to the hospital. They ran several tests, and none of them were able to pinpoint the cause of her illness. While this is going on, her condition worsened. That is when S's dad decided to take her to a jackery, or a witch doctor. In Nepal, witch doctors are common in rural areas. They are healers who tap into the spiritual realm and use their powers to heal people. When this doctor took a look at S, he was able to tell that something had latched onto her and was draining the life from her.
No. Oh, part of me was thinking that this little boy was just helping her, like guiding her back to the group.
I know. They brought in a black rooster and sacrificed it in her name to get rid of the entity and save her life. I know this sounds very gruesome, and some of these practices are shunned by many, but S's family could not find another way to save her. They did as they were told, and soon enough, S did start to feel better, and she got back to her normal health. My grandma has many other stories of encounters, but this is one that's the most creepy in my opinion. I never knew what entity she had encountered, but after listening to your episode about B.E.K and the traits of how it appeared, kind of seems like that's what she experienced. I don't know what would have happened to my grandma if the B.E.K had been successful to luring her into following it who knows where, or what if my family hadn't been able to save her. But my grandma is now 83 and living her best life. She has so many stories. Most of the women in my family are sensitive and have encounters of their own, so maybe I'll share them in another email. Keep it spooky, Angela.
Jeez. You know what's interesting? It's like she touched the boy.
Which is why I think it impacted her so much.
Yeah.
Because black-eyed kids, traditionally, the story is they knock on your door and they want to be let in.
Mm-hmm.
But there have been some encounters where people do encounter them out in the world.
Yeah. I feel like one of the first stories we read, someone was in a parking garage and the kid was trying to get in their car.
Right. But it's still the idea of like trying to get inside somewhere.
Right.
Inside of you.
Inside of you. Oh my gosh. And grandma sought him out. I wonder what would have happened like if she hadn't. I mean, I guess like he didn't react at all anyway.
That's the scariest part, is that he didn't respond to anything being called to him. He didn't even respond to her touching him. Like, what did his face look like?
Right. Did she
like, it almost
see?
knew that turning around and showing its face would have prevented her from touching him.
Yeah. And like, I can totally see it where like you like tap on someone, but they like don't turn around. And so you're like, okay. And so you like give them space again. Like,
but you're in the woods.
You don't go like in front of them and look at them.
But it'd be one thing if you're in a public place with a bunch of people around and you tap on someone and they very clearly like don't want to deal with you and like walk off. But you're in an isolated area. You're in the woods where people aren't just wandering about. It's not a busy like hiking trail. They're camping.
You think that they'd be scared.
Exactly. We want more of your B.E.K stories. I want to hear all of them. I hope that there aren't that many, but I also selfishly, like, for the podcast, I do.
Okay. This is called The Tree Killed My Cat.
Oh, no.
Yeah. There's going to be some content warnings because there's talk of a serial killer in here who, like, very brutally attacks and murders women. So I'll try to glaze over some of the details, but I just want to give that as a...
I also have no idea how that works in tandem with the title of this subject.
This is from Sun. It's just straight into it. It
I
says,
love it.
This is long. I'm sorry. I didn't realize this until I finished.
Totally fine.
For some backstory, I live in Southeast Florida, Port St. Lucie to be specific, and this is relevant. I'm an avid listener ever since I found you two about a year ago. You guys are my go-to decompression pod for my commute to and from work. I've actually never considered sharing this story with anyone outside of my family and friends until I found you two.
We're honored.
I feel like you would understand this. So, back in 2015, one of my childhood friends was in town and she stayed the night with me. We were bored. We decided we want to do something spooky.
Yes.
Even when we were younger, we would create homemade Ouija boards and scare ourselves to death. We played witches and warlocks in the yard. We would make potions out of plants that we foraged around the neighborhood. So, spooky is our friendship dynamic.
Oh man, I saw someone on TikTok, instead of putting like a playhouse out in their backyard, they made a witch brewing station.
Yes, like a mud kitchen, like potion station. I saw that too. I was like, ooh, I want to do that. Which one of my neighbors just did a whole fairy garden. It's like magical. There was one part of their yard where it's just like a bunch of trees and they cut the lower branches and the whole, like, it's just all dirt and moss and rocks in that area.
Oh my God, beautiful.
So they put like climbing ropes and they put a bunch of fairy garden stuff, and then they were having kids like paint rocks, like neighborhood kids. Anyone who wants to paint a rock for the fairy garden can. It's so sweet.
Did I ever tell you my high school, like over the summer, did a bunch of summer camps and I was a counselor. And one of the camps that I did was fairy camp.
You did? I feel okay. You're like a dad. You have so many stories. You've lived so many lives. You do so many things that just randomly comes out in a story.
Well,
Like years later.
because it was like
you ran a fairy camp. I don't think you've ever
I didn't
said that,
run
and
it.
we've done this for a really long time.
So basically, a lot of like the high school students were counselors, but we weren't the leaders of the camps.
Mhm.
So like it was for a week that we had people in our camp, and then we made little like fairy houses and stuff and put them all over the campus.
Oh,
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
it was really fun.
I want to go to that camp. Can they
Well,
do that for adults?
Yeah, we can do it.
Okay, so spooky is our friendship dynamic. It always was. Anyway, it was around 3 p.m. We hopped in my car. We decided we would go try to visit the local legend called the Devil's Tree. It's an old oak tree somewhere in Oak Hammock Park in Port St. Lucie, Florida, with a very sinister background.
Oh.
The tree's local lore is that back in the 70s, before Port St. Lucie became a developed city, it had been swamps, canals, and dirt roads. Very small, very southern. The way the story was always told to me, and this is fucked up, but a piece of shit sheriff would drive around and help female hitchhikers by giving them rides.
Oh, no.
He would only target women. He would get them in his cop car. He'd take them to a little shack off the canal where the tree is, and he would chain them out back to the oak tree, now coined the Devil's Tree.
And that tree still stands.
Yeah.
That's awful. I hope people like leave offerings and like little gifts at the
I know.
tree for those spirits.
His body count is unknown, but he was sent to death row. We'll never truly know the extent, as he never officially confessed.
God,
As
I
a
hate
sheriff,
that.
I'm sure he knew what to say and what not to say, how to say it.
Yeah, what an abuse of power.
Yeah.
Because especially if like you are looking for help on the side of the road and a sheriff pulls up, like you're like, oh my God, it's like the best
that's the safe
person
zone,
to help
right?
me.
Like,
yeah.
you get a ride in a cop car to where you need to go.
This is why we trust nobody.
Yes.
Except each other.
For more details on the Devil's Tree, there's so many articles now, and there's even a movie based on it. It's gotten really mainstream lately. But when all this was happening in the 70s, the tree gained a lot of local notoriety, and people started hosting seances and using Ouija boards at the tree to try to make contact with the girls.
Let's give them peace.
Right.
Let's give them flowers.
People still to this day go out there doing that. Well, this tree now has went from a crime scene to a local hotspot for satanic gatherings and ghost hunters, or for the curious like myself, opening the door to a lot more things, which I think is the root cause for my heartbreak. So back in 2015, me and my friend put Oak Hammock Park / Devil's Tree into the GPS, and we started to head over. It's about a 20-minute drive to get there. The whole way, we're amping ourselves up, telling each other what we know about the tree. We get to the road to enter the park, but the GPS starts to malfunction. And this was back when Google Maps still had big red dots for your destination, and the GPS voice kept repeating over and over, "You have arrived. You have arrived.
It
You
was
have
trying
arrived."
so hard to prevent you from going.
I know. And the red dot grew larger as we drove past it. I kid you not. We both freaked out. We kept going straight. We said, never mind. And that's a pretty good sign for us to stay away. I actually had to power my phone off to make the GPS stop glitching out. And personally, I've always been susceptible to spirits and ghosts. I had a friend's mom in middle school who was a medium cleanse my shirt that I had when I came over for a sleepover. She said that there was something attached to my shirt, not me, but specifically my t-shirt. She gave me a long speech about protecting myself because things will gravitate and attach themselves for whatever reason.
What kind of shirt was this?
I know. I'm like picturing like the Paul Frank, like monkeys with braces.
Oh my God,
going on their like
obsessed.
carousel or whatever.
That's a good one to get attached to.
My grandmother and my sisters were also into the darker side of things and dabble a bit with old magic from Brazil. My aunt is, and always has, practiced as a Wiccan because she's more in tune with nature.
Son, I feel like you have so many stories to
Right?
share with us.
But I've always felt protected, and this was one of those moments. We both decided that this was not meant for us. We were not meant to see this tree. The warning was heard loud and clear, or so I thought. 2017 comes. I had become close friends with a guy, we'll call him Chris, that lived relatively close to the Devil's Tree. He was a Satanist, and so I was intrigued by his beliefs and his occult knowledge, and once again, I found myself in another friendship based on the spooky. Well, the devil's tree came up, and of course, I shared my story with him about what happened back in 2015, and he shared that he had visited the tree a few times, but he found nothing out of the ordinary. One day, while we're talking, we made plans for him, one of my girlfriends, and myself to meet around 1 a.m. that night. Since he's been to the tree, he would walk us to the tree because I'm not sure where exactly in the park it's located. So my friend came over, we rolled a joint, we headed to Oak Hammock Park, and we went to go meet Chris.
At 1 a.m.
At 1 a.m.
Okay.
Which, like, I don't know enough about where you are in Florida, but I feel like I wouldn't go anywhere at 1 a.m. because alligators. Like, what if there's a pond or a swamp nearby?
Then you just don't go in it.
Alligators can roam wherever.
Yeah,
fast.
but like,
It's night. What if you don't see it?
you can still go outside.
At night?
Yes.
No. Stay inside, Floridians. This is a public park now, so there are strict hours, and it's also smack in the middle of a residential neighborhood. We park our cars on the opposite side of the road to the park entrance, and we walk across. We hop over the chained fence blocking the entry to the parking lot, and as soon as my feet landed, I immediately got overwhelmed with a feeling of regret. Like, I should not be here.
I like truly feel it in my body.
Yeah. We intended to smoke a joint by the tree and take it all in, and there's a little dock to the right of the parking lot. A dock, water, alligators. We thought the little dock to the right of the parking lot looked like a great place to light it up, but then we reconsidered the whole thing. We would spark it up, we would start chit-chatting about the tree with plans to walk back to it after we finished, and I kept looking towards the bathrooms because I felt like someone was looking at me, and we all agreed that we had this really big feeling of unease and like we were being watched coming from the tree line, and this just really creeped us out. Maybe that's why we stalled so long. This is the closest I've ever been to the tree and my first time stepping foot on the property, and as we're standing around smoking, we see a police car pull up. Being scared shitless because we're trespassing and smoking weed, we throw the rest of the joint into the canal and we hop over the dock, down the embankment, and lay flat against it. In hindsight, this is such a stupid thing to do in Florida. I don't know how we didn't get dragged in by an alligator because they are all over that canal. While laying flat against the embankment, being as still and as quiet as we possibly can be, we see the officer's flashlight reflecting over the edge and shining across the other side of the canal. He clearly saw us hop over the edge and down into the water. He knew exactly where we were, and he started to walk closer. Then we see the light swing around and start shining into the woods. He calls to his radio that we, quote, ran into the woods. We all looked at each other confused. We were all lying against the embankment, waiting for the police to leave. It's been about 10 minutes, but it did feel like hours. And backup comes, at least 3 more officers, and they walk to the entrance of the tree line. We hear them all talking and laughing because none of them wanted to go into the woods. They leave after a few minutes, and we lay there whispering, what the fuck, to each other for an additional 3 minutes before climbing back up. We're so freaked out by the fact that the police were here and that they said that they saw someone running into the woods, so we decided we would just conclude the night. Let's head home.
Yep, good idea.
We don't want to meet whoever must have run into the woods. So we stand around our cars, recapping for another 5 to 10 minutes, and we head out.
Okay, can I pitch a theory?
Yeah.
It's the police, which these women would be terrified of.
Oh, yeah.
And that they, like, their spirits were like, we don't want the police to find Sun and her friends.
Yeah.
Let's run into the woods to make the police think.
Lure them away.
Yeah. Like they were
That's
protecting
actually-
them.
That's probably a very good theory. Because, yeah, that's not a safe person at all for them. My friend decided to just stay at my house since it was already almost 3:30 a.m. And the next morning around 7 a.m., my dad bursts into my room where we're both knocked out, frantic, saying something is wrong with my cat.
Oh, baby. Oh.
My cat, who I found outside of a Publix parking lot when she was 3 weeks old, a sweet little calico named Ollie. I bottle fed her. I had the strongest bond with her, and I can't really explain it. She is my baby. She is my familiar. She was the sweetest, most gentle cat that I ever had. And if you can imagine a dainty, proper, ladylike cat, that was her.
Little lady.
At the time, I also had 2 other cats, both solid black, one 18 years old, the other around 6 months. And I adopted both of those from Petco, and no one wanted them because they were black. Ollie was not black, and she was around 3 at this time. So I jumped out of bed. I rushed out to the kitchen where I saw her laying there on the tile, panting and soaking wet.
Oh, baby.
She was deranged looking. She did not seem like herself. I asked my dad what had happened, and he described that she looked like she was having a seizure, one of the many that she would have on a long road to come. I immediately connected this to the devil's tree. I told my friend, who was now standing behind me, that something must have followed us home. Something must have attacked her. This immediately felt spiritual in my gut. My friend went home. I monitored my cat for the rest of the day. I gave her extra treats. I loved on her as much as she would let me, but she just didn't seem like herself, which can be normal following a seizure.
Poor baby.
The next day, it happened again. This time I took her to the vet. They couldn't find anything wrong at all. They sent us home with medication, and at home, she had 2 more seizures that day, for a total of 3, making her retreat and start hiding underneath my bed. Again, not something she would do,
She's
but
probably
maybe
so
normal for seizures.
sad and scared.
Right. Throughout the next month, multiple vet visits, multiple seizures, and a 100% shift in her personality. One night, she had a very bad bout of seizures. It was late at night. It was around 11 p.m., and I was feeling hopeless because nothing the vets did seemed to be working. Nothing was getting her better. This was getting insanely expensive. I was only 19. I worked a part-time job. I had to borrow money from a payday loan and max out several credit cards to do this for her.
Oh.
I rushed her to an emergency clinic who wanted to test her for rabies, as that was the only conclusion that they could make after me describing her symptoms. Not a single one of my cats have ever been outside a day in their lives, aside from when we got them. There was no possible way she would be rabid, and I knew this. I also knew that this was a spiritual attack, but how can I fix that? How can I explain to a medical professional that I think something followed me home from the devil's tree and is attacking my cat? My next step was to take her to a church and consult a priest. That night, I had a dream that there was a storm in the living room and my cats were cowering at my feet. I walked through the house to the den. The essence of the dream felt evil. It felt sinister. I began banishing whatever this entity was in my dream. I was calling on Jesus. I was banishing these unseen forces. I was telling it was not welcome here and using, in the name of Jesus, saying it cannot stay here, repeatedly screaming this while standing in the middle of the storm that was whipping around the den with my cats terrified by my feet. And then the storm cleared. And the very next morning, my cat seemed normal for the first time in over a month. I kept reflecting back on this dream. I even went as far as to tell my dad that I think it's over. And he's equally in tune, and he agreed that I must have brought something home with me that night. But he told me that it's not over. Things don't leave that easily. Later that night, I was in my room thinking everything was okay, and I guess my cat was in the den hanging out. She normally doesn't ever hang out back there, but that's where I found her. And this was the first day that she'd been out around the house in a while. As I'm in the room doing whatever teenagers do, my dad screams for me.
Oh, no.
I come out and he tells me that the other 2 cats just came running out from the back of the house and I need to go check on Ollie. I run back there and I find her in the den. I see her contorted on the floor, nails dug into the carpet, making this unforgettable sound from deep in her body like a guttural, painful growl. I kneeled down beside her, talking to her calmly. After a minute, she straightened back out, clawed her way towards me, trying to attack me. Except she seemed paralyzed. Her back legs wouldn't move.
Baby.
I reached for her anyway, with tears streaming down my face because I knew that this was it. I felt it. The air around was dark. It felt evil again. And then she bit me. I still have a scar. I stayed beside her, talking softly, telling her how much I love her, apologizing for not protecting her. And then it was over. She was gone. It was like my heart shattered, because I know if I hadn't visited that tree, she would still be here. I know that she was going through this to protect me. I know it was my fault. And also, I never contracted rabies. Neither did she. And I have a scar to prove it. I will rejoice the day that that tree is destroyed, if it ever can be. They've tried to remove it. The chainsaws break and the bulldozers stop working.
Whoa.
I'll never step foot on that land again.
That's it?
That's it.
Son, I am so sorry. And Ollie, I am so sorry. I just want to give Ollie like the most like cuddly kisses. I do believe that something potentially attached itself to Ollie, but I don't want to believe that it was the tree and the spirits of the victims.
Oh, no, I don't think so. I think that so much evil happened there.
Yeah.
That there's a manifestation of it.
And also people going there and performing rituals or whatever else. I think it's just like festered.
Yeah.
That something negative could have followed them back. But I do believe I still adamantly believe that the people running into the woods were the victims who were trying to keep the police away.
Yeah.
Oh, that just is so devastating. And I can't even imagine going through that. My soul hurts.
But this is also proof that urban legends, it seems fun to chase urban legends. But when you're dealing with the paranormal and you're dealing with these darker places, sometimes there are consequences. And sometimes there are things that we're so unprepared to be exposed to.
And it's really important to really protect yourself and set intentions and just it's like spiritual warfare.
Yeah.
You have to build up your defense, your armor before going into any paranormal
I know it's
experience.
tough though, because Sun felt like they were. You just never know.
You can't just go do some paranormal stuff with random people. You have to, I only really trust you.
I know that's a hard thing with paranormal investigations. We always want to go do stuff with other people, but it's also hard because you never know how someone's going to react. You never know what other people are bringing into the space.
Yep.
You never know if someone, maybe they seem respectful on the outside, but internally their thoughts are aggressive or taunting the spirits. And I don't think Sun did anything wrong because how could you have ever predicted that something would follow you home and attack your cat so horribly?
It's so sad.
But oh my gosh.
Okay, well, I'm going to end us with one that is not as depressing.
Okay.
It is spooky, but it's not as wow, my soul hurts and I want to cry.
Sun had a lot of death.
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually don't know who this is from because they didn't say. And it says no subject is the subject line.
Okay. Anonymous.
I don't know if you're still taking stories from people, but I just started listening to you on Spotify and I have a lot of stories because I think I'm haunted. So I'm going to tell you a couple. 3 years ago, I think I had sleep paralysis, but I don't know. Anyway, I would get up out of nowhere and look at my clock and it was always 3 a.m. exactly. I got so scared because me and my sister have always been interested in the paranormal since we met each other. So I knew what it meant. And I felt like something was watching me. So I looked at my door and saw my mom glaring at me. I asked what she was doing, and she just slowly started closing the door. And then she shut it.
Doppelganger.
I started crying, but fell back asleep. When I woke up in the morning, I asked her about it, and she was like, "What? I never got out of bed. I never woke up last night."
Ooh. Wait, can I just share one quick anecdote?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I see a lot of things online because now I'm on parenting TikTok and parenting Instagram, and people are you never stop checking on your children. And a couple of years ago when I was at home, I was sleeping in my room. The door just slowly creaks open, creak. And I can see I'm facing away and I see the light of the night light in the hallway start casting on my door. And I slowly turn around. And my mom is just standing there in the doorway. It's the middle of the night. She's just standing there. I said, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Oh, sorry. I just wanted to check on you." I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
At least it was actually her.
Yeah.
I thought you were going with...
I'm 27 years old. It's the middle of the night. You're scaring the shit out of me.
That is hilarious.
But at least she spoke. This is very
at least it
doppelganger.
was actually her. Now, me and my cousins play this game called Slender Man. It's basically the same thing as hide and seek tag, but we call it Slender Man because we would play from 12 to 2 or 3 in the morning. So this is kind of hide and seek is a paranormal game.
Mm.
But they double down and make it even spookier by searching for the Slender Man. Okay, so it's really dark. Everyone's dressed in black, so you didn't know who was who. And on the side of my house, we have a fence going from straight across to the end of our side yard, and there was a gate so we could get through it when we were playing. While we're playing, I look at the fence because I was looking for Slender. And instead, I see a little girl about 4 feet tall, dressed in all white. She was on the other side of the fence, and all I could see was her head and part of her arm hanging out. But the thing was, half of her was coming through the fence. The other half was on the other side of the fence, and I couldn't see it.
Oh my God.
I got so scared, I screamed, and everyone was apparently together without me and came running to me. I was stuttering and pointing to the fence, telling them there was a girl. I looked over, she was gone.
Jesus. Okay, that's very startling, but I couldn't help but think like that's something you would do as a spirit.
Yeah. It's also
Like wedge yourself through something just to freak someone out.
or was she just like on the other side of the fence trying to like see what they were doing?
Peeking through.
And it just looked really creepy.
Ugh.
Or was this the game hide and seek with a ghost and this is the ghost who was trying to catch them? Okay, last one. So when my sister and I stay up really late, we get super energetic. And this night, like a couple of months ago, we were trying to put our legs over our heads. And then my sister had to go to the bathroom. So she left the room and I closed my door. And I was laying right next to the door trying to put my legs over my head again. When out of nowhere, I hear someone whisper my name. But it was so quick and so sudden that I felt confused. I was like, is this my sister? But in my heart, I felt like it sounded like an old man. When my sister came back into my room, she looked scared. I told her what happened and asked if that was her. She said no. But then when she opened the door, she felt a gust of wind go around her. And she heard her name, but she could only hear it in one of her ears. Then she looked at our parents' bedroom door, and there she saw a shadow of a man standing there. She got scared, turned back into the bathroom, and then looked back out into the hallway. The man was gone. Also, I got chills and really dizzy when I was trying to type these for you. But yeah, keep doing what you're doing because your podcast is amazing.
Oh my God. That's a lot of hauntings.
And there are more. There were more that I skipped over. But yeah.
Something's happening to you or your home.
To you. Potentially to you. To all of you because the amount of emails we have is quickly climbing. And like I think we have like 12 to 13,000 unread emails.
Yeah,
of
which is
paranormal
great
encounters.
And don't let that discourage you from sending in your email because now that we theme them all, it doesn't matter if it was sent in 2018 or yesterday. Like if it matches what we're looking for, it's getting read.
Yeah. And we'll never stop doing this because clearly we have so many emails that we could be doing this until we die.
We're going to be old grannies.
Like literally we'll be on our deathbeds. We'll be like the grandparents
one more email.
We'll be grandparents in Willy Wonka.
Yes.
Laying in bed on opposite sides. My feet will be by your head. Your feet will be by mine. And we're podcasting.
Streaming you can be at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I do wonder this listener, though, like if they ever played paranormal games again after that.
It sounds like they did it often.
Yeah.
What paranormal games have you played? Because we could do that as a topic, too. And
that's a good one.
I love paranormal games. So, yeah, if you've played any paranormal games, email us. If you've done anything paranormal or experienced anything paranormal, please email us to twogirlsoneghostpodcast@gmail.com. But before we wrap up, I wanted to ask, that was so official.
Yeah, I know. Wow.
But before we wrap up, back to you, Corinne.
Yeah, where's the teleprompter in here?
Because this is urban legends, what urban legend did you grow up with?
Well, it was Emily's Bridge.
Okay, that was your big one?
Emily's Bridge was the big one.
Which we covered in like beginning of the podcast. First couple, right?
Yeah, it was probably like episode 2 or 3.
Yeah.
It was definitely Emily's Bridge. And then I grew up like hearing the classic thing that everyone does where it's like, you know, like the story of the flashlights, like someone flickering their flashlights as the woman's like driving on the road to try to warn
scary
them.
Story.
But like that wasn't supposed to be like local. It was just like a scary story to tell. Yeah. But Emily's Bridge was where you went.
I had 2. I had Jersey Devil and then I had...
Oh yeah, I guess I had Champ.
Yeah.
I was thinking like...
Well, because Champ's real.
But Champ is real. But is the Jersey Devil
But
Emily's
Bridge is also a real haunting.
I know. I was more thinking of like where you go as like kids to try to.
There was another one that I never went to, but there was a place called Gravity Hill in New Jersey.
Is that kind of like the like kids' fingerprints, like school bus?
It's similar, but it was more like if you park downhill instead of like going down, your car moved like up the hill. Yeah.
Did you do it?
No, I never did it. But
if we pass through the area.
We'd love to know what your local legends are and if you ever went and partook in said hauntings and legends.
Yeah.
If you want episodes 1 week early and ad-free, join us on Patreon. If you want us to stop telling you to shut up and listen to our ghost stories, just stop listening.
I just realized you have an alligator on your shirt.
Yeah. Oh my God, I do. But it says, see you later. Later, alligator.
Stay safe from alligators.
Yes.
Don't get eaten while trying to visit your local cemetery or lore.
Yeah, don't email us stories of alligators because
that's the scariest thing that I can think of.
Yeah. What else? I don't know. Do your thing.
Do
what you do. Do what we say every time.
To the flat sharks out there.
And the alligators. Respect.
And we will.
Oh, and to Jamie.
Oh, yeah. And most importantly, Jamie Ryan, who edits and produces our podcast. Wow.
We love
Jamie
y'all.
has a lot of work to do.
We're going to leave now.
And we will see you on the other side.
The truth is, we should have told ourselves to shut up.
Yes.
And that's what we're doing now. Okay, bye.
Very spooky.